let me ask you,
Yeah.
As we're continuing to do this and promoting the Rosary more and more every day, and so thankful, so incredibly thankful for the way that God has kind of orchestrated bringing us back to Georgia these last 4 years, focusing on Rosary Army again. And, even when we first moved down here, that was kind of our hope, but we didn't really know exactly how it's going to work out. And, again, so in my mind, a little bit of a blessing of COVID was when we started praying those live stream rosaries and the incredible response that we got from so many people who enjoyed that. And just that was all a part of this affirmation, this reaffirmation of the importance of Rosary Army. And, as we've been committed to praying this daily rosary now for a few years, I still find it hard to say clearly what the benefits are, in our own personal lives. Have we seen any changes? If someone said, well, what's changed in your life as a result of it? And if anything, all I could say is, well, it's made me more dedicated in my prayer across the board. The daily rosary prayer was an entry point to going deeper into other things. And I see God regularly going, okay, now a little bit more, and now a little bit more, and now a little bit more. Not in a bad way, right? Not like I'm being overwhelmed, but it started with the daily rosary, got that under the belt, right? And then the liturgy of the hours became a thing, and then a little bit more of the liturgy hours became a thing, and then now we're praying the rosary in Latin, and now and we were just talking about the three, praying all three sets, all 15 decades of the original 3 sets of mysteries. And I'm going, it's not out of the question to try to do that too, and so it's a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. But can you clearly say, what has been a benefit in your mind?
The first word that popped into my mind was tethered. I feel very tethered to the life of Christ. But let me quantify that. It's not as illustrious as I wish it could sound in reality in terms of its meaning in my life. I'm growing in that tethering to Christ. Okay, that's where I am. But I feel so close to it that it's never far from me. It's like in the lens that I try to view the world, just Jesus and Mary is just, I'm very quick to go there. And I think the rosary helps me stay in that place and try to live there. I'm trying to live in the mysteries. And I know there's so much room for improvement. I could do that so much better. And there are other days that I think I do pretty good. And other days I fall and I'm not that great and living selfishly or whatever, or pride gets in the way. But the rosary brings me back to what matters the most. And it's all Him. And so every time I pray the rosary, it's another opportunity to reset spiritually and reconnect to Him. I'd much rather be connected to Him than connected to what the world offers digitally or whatever through entertainment and stuff like that. It's powerful. I can't imagine life without it. It completes me. It's just what I do. If I'm going to eat every day, I need to feed my soul every day. And this rosary is a wonderful gourmet meal for the soul because in its core, it is Jesus. It is Jesus. And that is how you get through this world. That is how you get through your suffering. That's what helps you correct when you're falling off the path. The rosary kind of does its own way of bringing you back. So that's how it has, I think, helped me.
I haven't told this story in a long time, but it was back in 2010. We went on a family road trip and went up to the Ohio area and went and saw some of the places I used to live in. I was a teenager in early 20s. And we were going through Columbus, and Patrick Madrid, Catholic apologist, radio host, many people know who he is, invited us over for dinner. And we got to go over and hang out with him and his wife Nancy and their kids, at least the ones that were still at home. And we went into their living room that night, and we all prayed a rosary together. But before that, we were sitting outside, having a drink, and he was cooking some burgers on the grill. And we were going through a thing with our extended family at the time, and just seeing some of our extended family falling away from the church. And it happened right before we left for that trip, so it was very much on my mind. And I told him about it, and I said, so he's got like 10 kids, and I said, are all your kids still Catholic? Yes. And he's got a bunch of siblings. Are they all still Catholic? Yep. What do you attribute that to? And I remember so clearly way back in, that was summer of 2010, and he said the family rosary, the daily rosary. With daily rosary, pray your rosary every day. And we came back and we were sticking with it, and then we fell away from it. The kids were little. We used that as an excuse. It was hard to wrangle them every night. It was kind of, well, if we do it a few days a week, that's pretty good. Yeah. That was kind of our rationalization. But accompanied that with, even before that meeting that we went over to their house, a few years before that, I had read in a book, there's a priest named Father Gobi, and he had written a book for priests, the Marian Movement of Priests or something like that. Some people have issues with it, but there's a lot of good content in that book that he wrote. And one of the things that I read in there is that someone asked him kind of the same thing of how do I make this prayer of the Rosary be beneficial for the sake of my children? And Father Gobi had said, every time you finish a rosary, you pray or make the statement, with this rosary, I bind all of my children to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. So with this rosary, it's like you're taking your kids, you're going up to Mary, and you're wrapping that rosary, and you say, with this rosary, I'm binding my children to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And we've been doing that for well over a dozen years now, if not longer. I think we may have started doing that maybe when Rosary Army started around that same time. So maybe 20 years now we've been praying that. And there have been times even with our own kids where it's like, we're like, oh, are they going to be okay? What's going to happen? And then they do keep getting pulled back to Christ. Even when they make mistakes, they get pulled back, and they we see them developing closer relationships, not as close as we would like, but again, we keep saying, well, but remember when we were that age, and remember, there leaps and bounds beyond where we were. And then I think about the fruit of Lily in particular. We've been praying that prayer since before she was even born. And here's this girl that this week, when there was vocations week at her school and nuns were visiting, that she was treating them like rock stars. She just couldn't. She's just beaming, and she's we think that she's only 14, but we think there's a good chance she may have a vocation, and we're not pushing it. She's the one that brings it up, and it's kind of an amazing thing to see. But I attribute that to the Rosary, and when the kids are stumbling, I just have to go, Mary, we have been binding them to you for all these years. We need you to step in and guide them right now, protect them, watch out for them. That to me is the number one biggest takeaway, biggest benefit of the daily rosary. And I feel more confident in it now that we've been praying it every day for the last several years without miss.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
If you want more, make sure you subscribe to Rosary Army's YouTube channel and visit us at rosaryarmy.com.